Let's talk about the unfortunate elephant that is still in the room, student loans. So at the beginning of the year, the lending world, we started talking about student loans as we had the issue where almost all student loans came out of deferment. Many borrowers were unaware, either mail got sent to the wrong address or it went into junk folders, whatever it may be, and payments were not made. Or I think some assumed maybe the payments really wouldn't come back, but they did. So we had a ton of borrowers that went into default status on their student loans. And this caused late payment after late payment after late payment to hit their credit. Because keep in mind, when you have student loans, a lot of times they're broken up into semester or year. So if you miss a student loan payment, you're not necessarily just missing one line on your credit. You could have 5, 6, 7, 8 late payments that all hit at the same time. So we saw that at the beginning of the year. And we've seen a ton of borrowers that really could have qualified in like December, but then as the new year started, could no longer qualify because it dropped their credit 40, 50, 60 or more points. And so we have had borrowers that have basically had no ability to get these off of their credit. They're going to be sitting there for a really long time, and we've had to have them catch back up. And we thought, okay, that first wave is really over. Hopefully things will calm down for everyone else. Not so much. Now what we have with new legislature is the SAVE plans also ending. And everyone who's in the SAVE plan will now have to go into new plans. Those that were in the SAVE plan, many of them were in deferment until 2028. They are pulling them out of deferment, and we will now hit the second wave of student loan borrowers that are coming out of deferment who may or may not be able to make their payments and may or may not have received the communication that they need. For example, my student loan payments are changing. I have received one email from my servicer for payments that are going to be changing in the next 4 weeks. If that email had gone to junk, I wouldn't have seen it. And if I was one of the individuals that was in deferment until 2028, I wouldn't likely be checking my servicer page every month either, because each time I've logged in for years, it said 2028. So we will unfortunately see more borrowers again who may have been notified. They may not have actually seen the notifications or received them in the way that they needed, and they may not realize they're out of deferment until it hits their credit. The problem is too, there's always a delay when we have these massive changes on it being reported to credit. So what we saw at the beginning of the year is they didn't start reporting it in January. They really didn't start reporting it until February and March. And then they were able to go back and charge them with not 30-day lates, but 60, 90, 120-day lates, which are significantly worse. And again, it's hitting each and every one of those lines of credit for the separate loan. So whether you're of the mindset, which student loans have become very polarizing over the last couple of years, whether you're on the mindset of, hey, you took out these loans, you should have known you were going to have to pay them back, you need to figure it out. Or if you're in the mindset of, hey, we gave loans to people that were 18, like a month before that, we would have not considered them adults, and they didn't have jobs, but we gave them sometimes 50, 100, 200, 300K in student loans without the ability to repay. So that's kind of setting them up to fail. And then we tack on compound interest, which means they're not paying it back times 1, they're paying it back times 4 by the time they pay it back if they can't make double payments. Whichever side you're on, either way, it continues to affect us in the housing industry. The student loan environment has a direct correlation to housing affordability because it's affecting credit. And then the other side of it is, with these new payment plans that are coming out, almost everyone's payments have increased. And for some of those, it may be $20 a month. For others, it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month that these payments are now increasing. And that can take the place of them being able to qualify for the loans they were able to qualify for a month ago, unfortunately. So in our world, as lenders on our side, we're going to have to continue to work with borrowers who have these late payments to see when they may be ready to qualify credit-wise, and who have high payments, and having them go through the process of checking each and every one of the payment plans, because we are no longer seeing individuals who we saw for many, many years with a 0 payment because they were low income. Even that's not existing anymore, unfortunately. So on our side, we're going to have to really take a look at these payments, see what payment options they have to see if we can get them qualified. On the realty side, though, it is super important that you guys, when you're qualifying your borrowers up front and you're having these conversations with them up front of, hey, I'm going to get you to a lender. The lender's going to look at your credit, your income, your assets. When they look at your credit, they're going to look at anything that reports to your credit. That is the perfect segue to go. They're going to look at student loans if you have student loans. Do you have student loans? And if they go yes, go, great. Have you logged in and checked on your servicer page to make sure all your payments are up to date? You don't have to ask them what their payment is. You don't have to ask them how much loans they have. Have you logged into your servicer within the last month just to make sure your payments are posting and are up to date? That is a amazing way, right, to get your borrowers to log in and go, ooh, I didn't even realize I was coming out of deferment, or, oh, my payment's now $500 more than I thought it was going to be. I need to recertify my income, for example, if their income has dropped. What we don't want to do is wait until they get in front of us, and it's been months now that you've been trying to get them to get qualified, and I'm the first one to go, do you know your student loans came out of deferment and you owe $900 a month now? Or you didn't know? Okay. Unfortunately, the bulk of the information about student loans for many people is coming from TikTok. So if you don't have people who are heavy into social media, they, again, may not even really have known that their student loans were coming out of deferment. It seems, obvious that, well, how would you not know your student loans are coming out of deferment? You'd be surprised. You would be very, very surprised. It's the same thing as people who have a no interest credit card. Almost every one of them is shocked when that no interest period ends. And they're always like, has it already been 10 months? So please be talking to any of your potential borrowers, your people who are under contract. Hey, do you have student loans? Great. Have you checked with your servicer website to make sure you're up to date on payments and your payments are posted as what they're going to be? Because the other thing you don't want is we pre-approve them now and they go under contract in a month. Student loans came out of deferment. They were unaware. Credit now drops from it. So it's an important conversation we both have to be having. There's not a great way to fix it. Unfortunately, the payments are what they are. Again, all we can do is talk to them about looking at the different payment options and working with their student loan servicer to see what they can do. But we will be moving away from credit reports not showing payments. We had a long time where credit reports didn't show payments. We unfortunately will be far, far, far removed from that. Pretty much every credit report I'm pulling right now, they all have payments and they're not fun. So talk to your borrowers early. Don't let it surprise anybody, just like we have to talk to them about it. If you have questions, though, about your borrowers or student loans, what to do, how to navigate it, how to have the conversation, let me know.